part of that documentary that actually I'm glad is there, that I didn't want there, but I wasn't the producer and I gave all the rights to it. It's the only way to be fair with it. The producer, after I worked with a young woman, you may remember, who was...
Yeah, there was abused, the chronic abuse woman.
But she was not only chronic abuse, she was in a cult where they abused her, where as children they were forced to have sex. It was horrible.
Yeah, so that blew you away. That was you were really sort of moved by that. And I was sort of, when the bit where you see you in the room and you've like got a little bit of downtime, it looked like that really blew you away. And that's
I was crying out of control. People don't see that in me. Because if I'm crying and they're helping her, which I did too a bit, but if I won't be able to help her, so it comes through me, and then afterwards I let go, and I feel the grace of that. And to me, that's often tears when it's so beautiful, when someone's life has been touched. And then I figure out what I did so I can do it again or teach someone else to do it.
So are you going to sage with that energy when you're like sort of feeling like, fuck it, no, that was a bit heavy? Like, aren't you feeling so like? Because like what I do for a living is not as intense. For a start, I'm a comedian and an entertainer, so I'm up there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and like all I've got to do is make them laugh, and I fucking love doing it. But afterwards, like I come home and I sort of crawl into bed and just like I'd want to be told, there, you're all right, you're a good boy, it's all cool. That's what I need to be told. Like like sort of, is that like? If you got access to that level of vulnerability in yourself, or like, because it seems to me, this is my fuck me, like, I mean, what do I know? I've only seen a documentary and had a bit of a chat, but it seems to me that you were very, very traumatic childhood and were not nourished in the way that you should be, so you had to turn yourself into your own nutritional source, and now you're trying to solve all of the world's problems, well, not one individual at a time. I've been in rooms where there's 10,000 of them, but like, that's a lot of intensity, because sort of actually, even though, prior in the earlier chat, you told me like that they put all that athletic monitoring equipment on you and said that you burned 11,000 calories in 9 hours and your heart's doing this and your heart's doing that. Like, I believe that in the ability of consciousness and will to alter anatomy and to alter material to a degree, but the simple fact is that ultimately that you're a man. Where are you going with that vulnerability? What are you doing? Have you got like a mentor, someone that you can call?
Yes, I have many. What's really beautiful in my life, the grace of my life, is I've been called to help others, and they look at me as their coach, but I'd be an idiot, the kind of people I have the privilege of coaching, to think I'm just coaching them. I go there, just like I did with you. I wanted to interview. I reached out to you. Unfortunately, you wanted to chat with me too, which I was grateful for. But I wanted to reach you because I feel you have a very special voice when it comes to recovery that I have not seen anywhere else. You have a passion and a truth and a vulnerability. And I have a lot of that, but I'm only one person. So I'm good at finding brilliant people and then helping to pull out so other people can see, at least the people that I have an audience for. I have 20 million people on social media and they talk to people, so hopefully it reaches even more. So I'm always on the hunt for human excellence. I'm on the hunt for someone who's real. My vulnerability is absolutely there, but I've trained myself like an athlete. Like, the most common question I've been asked by the media my entire life that always makes me laugh is, well, don't you have bad days? Don't you have days when you're like frustrated and excited and pissed off and you watch TV and you eat Cheetos and watch pornography? And I said, well, I do some of those things, right? And of course I do, but it's like an athlete. I built muscle over the years so that it's not that I don't have feelings, that I don't get hurt, I don't feel sad, I don't feel tired, I feel all those things, but they're not the dominant force in my life. It's a muscle. The mind is a muscle. Emotion is a muscle. I mean, I think the most powerful muscles are the invisible force muscles. It's your spiritual, emotional muscles. Like, courage unused doesn't grow, it shrinks. So I put my ass on the line regularly so that it grows, and when it keeps growing, then pretty soon the stuff that used to make me crazy, it doesn't touch me. It's not that I'm so great, just I'm well trained. I trained this mind. I get up every morning in my life, you talk about rebounder, more crazy shit I do is every morning in my life, if I'm near any of my homes, and some places I have cryotherapy, but my homes I have these cold plunges, and they're 56 degrees, and the first thing I do is jump in that cold plunge. So there's not a fucking morning where I want to jump in that. I can't remember mornings like, I can't wait to jump in that thing. But I don't negotiate with myself. I do it for two reasons. One, there's a physical health component. It moves your lymph system, the blood flushes through your whole body. But the main reason I do it, even more than that, is when I go up there, I don't, how people negotiate, well, maybe we'll do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do this, or let me wait 2 more minutes till I'm ready. There's none of that shit with me. For decades, I say, we do. I'm not here to discuss this shit with my mind. There's mind, and then there's soul and spirit. And soul and spirit, my soul fucking knows. And when I say jump, you fucking jump. I'm not here to have a discussion with you. Now, does that happen with my water every day? Yes, because I've conditioned it. Does it happen every year of my life? No. And when I find it's not working, then I step back up and condition it. And unless I'm willing to take 100% responsibility for what I feel and what I experience, then I'm always going to be a victim to someone, because there's always going to be somebody upset in the world we live in today about something you said or didn't say or didn't do or go. There is no victory in the world where everyone has a voice, and not everybody's voice is necessarily designed to make somebody feel loved. It's designed to meet whatever their needs are in that moment. They might want certainty, and you're being a certain way makes them uncertain, or they think you're significant. You may think they're totally significant, but they don't, so they're mad. So I can't live my life that way. So I live my life where I keep learning, I keep growing, I keep loving, I keep laughing, and I'm trying to leave a decent legacy of a meaningful life by constantly looking for ways I can be helpful. And my prayer, a simple prayer before I walk out on every stage, is use me, Lord. And when you do that, it's like, if you get out of the way, my greatest gift is getting out of the way. I know that sounds silly to some people, but it's really true. I'm not an ultra religious person, but I'm extremely spiritual, and I believe the force of life comes through me, it comes through you, it comes through all of us. And the only thing that gets in the way is all the beliefs we have of how it's supposed to be, all the expectations we have. And I have them too, but I keep weeding them out. So I don't want to give you the impression that I don't have challenges or anything of that nature, but I have a hell of a lot fewer. It takes a lot more. When something happens like this happened, I go, oh, we're the opponent. Because in every story of a person's life, they have what they want and desire, and then they have these needs that they're unaware of. Character things that need to be developed. And how do those get developed? Well, if what you wanted, you just took action and it happened, you'd be bored, B, you'd never develop spiritually or your character. And so what happens is opponents show up. And the opponent can be you with yourself. The opponent can be somebody close to you that feels like an opponent. It could be an external force. But if you do battle with this, eventually you battle with yourself. Because if you can solve it within yourself, you can, regardless of what happens in the outside world, you can have that sense that your life is meaningful. And so I've done battle for 58 years, and I'm going to keep doing battle the rest of my life, but I'm doing better because I've done battle so often. It's like, why is LeBron James who he is? It's not because he's lucky. Everybody say, he's lucky. Shit, he may have certain physical talents. Or Michael Jordan, I remember I interviewed him years ago, and I said, what makes you the best in the world? Is it skill? Is it talent? Is it ability? Is it background? Is it training? And he was so awesome. He said, Tony, I can tell you the truth, and it won't sound like hyperbole or false modesty. He said, I didn't even make the high school basketball team my sophomore year. I was cut. He said, what it is every day I demand more from myself than anybody else could possibly expect. I don't compete with other people. I compete with what I'm capable of. And it's just like, that kind of standard is inspiring.
This reminds me, I had this conversation with Tom Cruise, right? Who's another American sort of great square-jawed superstar. And he was sort of saying about how he made his success himself. But I goes, no, but you were born with the Tom Cruise shit. You had that, even the will, the will, there's not the,
where do you think will comes from? Where did your will come from?
I don't know. Where do you think it comes from? I think that would be better.
There's something you have to push against or you don't develop it. How do you build a muscle? You don't build muscle because you were born with it. We're all born with muscle, but if it's developed, you trained it. And that means you had to find something that you valued more than your pain. You had to get beyond your pain, or you had to use your pain and say, I'm going to use it to become more. That's what my life's been about. And now it's no longer driven by pain, it's driven by the joy of seeing people lit up.